Hey guys.
So today I have a special guest on my channel. This is my sister. Her name is Wesley, and if you want to, you can check out her YouTube channel. It's called Life with W and J. It's just one word, and the and is the and sign. So today we're going to be talking about
Growing up Haitian and having to deal with Haitian parents growing up in American society.
So let's get started with the questions that we have.
All right. So I pretty much jot down a few questions. So first question, well, first category, I guess, because I have them with categories as well, is how did you view religion? Or how was religion viewed?
For us, I feel like we had to, every Sunday, I remember we had to go to church. We had to get dressed with them little scruffy dresses that would itch so bad.
Oh my God, I remember that. And the tibaret in my hair.
Yes!
With the nœud.
Chaque samedi, mommy faut faire cheveux nous. Then, mes petits barrettes, petits nœuds, petits souliers, petits chaussettes.
Oh, yeah. Like, I remember as a child having to go to church every Sunday, and I didn't quite understand the whole religion thing. Like, I didn't quite understand. Like, I knew that I had to go to church every Sunday, but the fact that every service was in
French,
a language that was not my native language, it made it a lot more difficult to pretty much relate to what was going on in the service. So I found myself a lot of the times just regretting going because I just never knew what was going on. Like, Matthieu 28 verset 14, you know, and then when they break down the thing in French, like the Bible was not even like I could get by with Creole, but a lot of the time the verses were in French, and
yes.
I'm hearing them recite it, but I have no idea what they're saying.
Like, we would hear Matthieu, and our parents had Haitian Bibles, so we would go to Matthieu in the Bible, but when we looking for verse or whatever, we're like, that don't match what you saying in the Bible.
Exactly, like they had their French version and we were just there with our little English Bibles,
yes.
And we didn't know what was going on.
But yeah, that,
I just felt like maybe if we were taught the French language growing up, it would be a little bit easier to understand and relate to what was going on in church, because a lot of times we just went there just for our friends. We weren't there to learn anything.
Right.
We weren't there to get closer to God. It was just, we were there just to hang out with people because we never really knew what was going on.
yeah, and we were kind of forced because we didn't have a choice. As a child, you literally have to listen to your parents. So you're forced to go to church. Like, every Sunday is like, live it, let's get ready for church.
Yep, let's wear those itchy dresses, wear them hideous, I mean, I don't want to call them hideous because it is part of the culture, but like, wear those hairstyles that we did not like.
What? We used to have our hair parted in like sections, and then they would wrap it up in a ballet and braid it, and then put another ballet at the bottom. If you don't know what a ballet is, I don't know how you say it in English. It's like a little accessory that you would put in your hair. I'm sure I've seen Black Americans put it in their children's hair. I don't know what they call it though, but ballet,
hair accessory.
Yeah, those ballet, and especially they used to, when your mom put that ballet in your hair and she accidentally let it loose a little bit and it hit you close in your head.
Yes. Or when I had to go to sleep and I had mad ballets in my head and
yes.
it would just hurt because it's a whole bunch of plastic hard balls all over your head.
Yes.
Okay. My follow-up question, I kind of feel like in a way we did answer this question, is how religious was the family growing up, and did you feel like you were religious?
I feel like we weren't like super religious, but we did go to church, and I feel like our parents kind of tried to force us to be like super religious, but it's just like I feel because it was kind of trying to be forced on us and not like something we wanted to do, it was kind of difficult because we don't understand what you're saying in church. We used to have like little Bible study in English, but it was only for a short period of time, and then every group had to go inside of the Haitian church, and we would go inside the Haitian church and literally just be listening to the adults talk and sing in Creole. So it's like,
and French.
Yeah, so it was like we don't know what's going on. Yes, we understand Creole because we talk with our parents, but they had some advanced words that we was just like.
I just feel like if I had the opportunity to give my parents advice on you know, doing things as far as religion goes, I would probably tell them to kind of explain it a little bit, you know, and try to make it so that we understand what's going on, we understand, and maybe like teach us some French. Like
right
now we can't really, you know, what do you call it, we can't pass on the language because we weren't taught it, and
right.
It's a very popular language in the world, and unfortunately we do not know it, even though our parents know it.
Yeah,
I always wonder that, like, why is it that we were never taught that language?
I feel like a lot of I actually found out the other day that my mom was saying when she was in school, they were not allowed to speak Creole. They were only allowed to speak French, and if they spoke Creole, they got in trouble in school, and they had to hold like some kind of baton. If you were holding it at the end of the day, you got punishment where you had to write, I should only speak French in school for 500 times in a notebook. And I was just like, so if you were taught that, how come you didn't teach us? Like, you know so much French, so we should know French too. We shouldn't just know Creole, because like, isn't Creole kind of like a slang to French? So we should know both, so we could be able to like communicate with someone who actually does speak French.
And not only that, it's very valuable to be able to like pass down your culture onto your children.
Right.
And
I feel like
us missing out on learning French is like kind of miss out on an aspect of our culture.
Right. I feel like there's a lot of things that we don't know as Haitians. Like there's certain, I have like people, or I've seen Haitians where, you know, they're like, oh, you don't know how to dance compa, or you don't know this, you don't know that, and I'm just like,
I wish somebody would tell me that.
I wasn't taught. I wasn't taught. Like, it's not that I didn't want to learn, it's just I was never taught these things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wasn't taught that, but I don't know. I just watched the Tiga Moon dance, the old ladies dancing. And that's how you learn. You kind of pick up. It's not too difficult because, you know, they're the most cautious when it comes to dancing, so it's easiest to learn from them. And they mostly dance by themselves, so.
That's true. They be like.
Yeah, so, yeah.
It was, do you feel like the way you were raised was good or bad? Do you feel like your parents were too strict?
You want me to go first?
You could go first. You're ready.
Okay. So, do I feel like the way that I was raised was bad? I would never say that the way that I was raised was bad, because I feel like my parents did the best that they could with the knowledge that they had from, and like, you know, basically seeing other parents and how they were raised. So they were just using that, you know, as a basis to raise us. Now, what was the other question?
I'm sorry. Do you feel like your parents were too strict?
Were they too strict?
I feel like to a certain extent they were too strict.
Yes, they were strict, but, you know, I understand why they were too strict, but I do feel like they could have loosened the ropes a little bit, because I do feel like, it affected me in a way. Like
being able to like communicate with people, like I feel like just being able to talk to people, because I feel like we were always, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, you did. I was just like, oh, I was on the road.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
The question was, are they too strict? No, I feel like they used, well, yeah, I feel like they could have loosened the ropes a little bit, because it did affect me in some ways. For example, I remember for a lot of my childhood, I was even like, yeah, a lot of my childhood up until maybe like high school, I was very limited on the amount of time that I was able to spend with my friends from school. Even outside of school, like I remember I wouldn't spend that much time at all with people outside of school, even in high school. So I just feel like because of that, it made it hard for me to know how to communicate, how to react in certain situations with other people, because even like at home, my parents, a lot of times they were working so much, so they weren't at home. So I didn't really have people to talk to. And yeah, I was just watching people on TV, and I wasn't really communicating with anyone. She was always on the computer, so I had nobody to talk to inside or outside of the house. So it really affected like how I communicate with people. That's all I have to say about that.
I feel like, you know, like some people, they do grow up shy. Like for me, I've always been shy, but I feel like as I've gotten older, it's come to the point where it's kind of like a problem for me, I think, because like I'll start a conversation with somebody and then I like, in my head, I start overthinking, like, oh my God.
I don't think you're shy at all.
You don't think so?
No. I just think that you just, when it comes to talking to people, you just, I don't know, you take it all, maybe it's the whole mental thing,
yeah,
and you just don't talk to people. But
I
don't
just
think
feel like
shy.
I overthink the situation, like, I don't know what to say. Like, I'll be, like, it's so funny. I'll have a conversation, like, when I used to work at this pharmacy, it was me and this girl, we were working next to each other. And we just started talking. She was like, oh, how old are you? I told her, I was like, oh, how old are you? And then she's like, oh, do you have any kids? And then I said no, and then I asked her if she had kids. She said she had two boys. And then I said to her, oh, I mean, that's not a bad age for you to have 2 kids. And she kind of looked like, what's that supposed to mean? And so like I kind of in my head I was like, oh my God, was that the wrong thing to say? Because in my head it sounded right, like it sounded okay to say, like, you know, that's like kind of, in my head I was thinking that's a perfect age to have 2 in my head. Because I think when I was younger, I always thought, okay, when I get older, I want to have kids when I'm about 25. And you know, things never go as planned from when you were a kid. Right now I'm 23 and I ain't got no man to have no kid at 25. But it's just like, you know, the way I responded to her, in my head I was like, okay, I don't want to make any more conversation, because then I feel like I'm gonna say something else that's not right, and she's just gonna look at me like, what the hell, like, what's good with this girl? I just met her and she already talking crazy.
So your problem is that you refrain from talking to people because you're afraid of offending them.
Right. And that's I feel like that's another thing. Like, even for me to tell someone like they hurt my feelings, I'm afraid to hurt their feelings because they hurt my feelings.
Oh no, sweetie. No.
And then I have to remind, like, I'm learning now that I need to think about myself first before I think about other people, because I come first. So I just feel like there's a lot of things from my childhood that I feel like are coming back to me now, and I need to just work on them little by little. Especially this whole like talking to people thing. this day is tough, man. Like, I'm learning each and every day, but
the best way is to just keep talking to people. Like, go out there and try to make friends however way you can, and just keep practicing. Because honestly, I feel like I was at that point at one point in time, but then now I feel like that does happen to me, but usually it happens when I'm around people like that I'm not used to, or that I'm getting to know. So like that's when I just like I start stuttering, and I'm just like I don't even know how to like hold this conversation, because I'm just like, I don't want to
offend them or say anything wrong. Like, damn, now they're not gonna like me because I said
I'm not thinking like, damn, now they're not gonna like me. I'm thinking, damn, like, shit, I hope I don't say something to make them feel bad about themselves.
Oh, okay, yeah. But still, then
I don't care if they like
then they're not gonna like you because you said something like that. But
I don't want to make somebody feel bad,
right? About themselves.
I don't want to make somebody feel bad off of something that I said. Well, one question I had was, were you allowed to have friends? I already explained that. It was very, like, I had like this window of opportunity to talk to people outside of school. Like, I remember most people that I was friends with, by like 6th grade, they had cell phones. I didn't get one until like it was almost freshman year of high school. So yeah, and I remember like even in elementary school, riding my bike, my father always told me I had to go straight to the stop sign, which was like maybe 4 houses down.
That's so true.
Then back, and don't talk to nobody, whether it's a neighbor, a classmate, somebody on the school bus, no talking to them. So it was just like, a lot of the times it was just me, the wind, my thoughts. That's all that I communicated with. And yeah, it kind of forced me to have a diary, because I felt like I couldn't talk to nobody, so I had to talk to paper.
Right.